don't optimize for bots or the LLMs or the AI search. He says optimize for people. Everything is about how are we relentlessly helpful to a person. The bots, the technology is going to overlay that and figure itself out. I love this quote. When you clear the noise, you open up the airwaves for the work that actually performs. You win by being relentlessly helpful.
8 months ago, 9 months ago maybe, this idea of search everywhere optimization. At the end of the day, it's still SEO. It's just expanded to the number of different platforms that now exist that you need to be present on. On today's episode, we break down a new article from Google that reinforces what we've been saying for months. Good SEO is good GEO or AI SEO or LLM SEO, call it what you will. You got to be the best at the basics. Let's get right into it. All right, welcome back. Not even going to comment today.
I mean, I can't comment on yours either. You wear the same shirt like every day.
What are you talking about? This is purple or pink or something. I don't know. You got this on, and he's wearing a jacket. It's summertime in Dallas. I don't know what.
The marketing team had asked us to make this evergreen, so I wanted to give them the ability to drop this later. Sorry, guys.
All right.
Anyway, okay.
So we're pivoting today. By the way, before we get into this, you guys emo fans? Remember the genre of music, emo?
I remember it, but
yeah.
I wouldn't say
I wasn't a big emo fan, but there was one song, there was one band, an emo band, Dashboard Confessional. You guys have heard Dashboard Confessional before, yeah?
This goes back to the age thing, I think.
Yeah. Listen, they had a song called Vindicated, and that's how I feel today. I feel vindicated, all right? So Google drops a new article. We're going to put this in the show notes. The title of this article, Good SEO is Good GEO or GEO. We have been saying this. Go back and watch all the previous episodes. We've been saying this since episode 1. We're going to break down all the points in this article today for you. We're going to talk about them. We may debate some of them. Guys, how are we feeling about this article? Christian, I'm going to start with you because I've been going to BQ so often at the beginning, and I feel like I'm leaving you out. So I know you're chomping at the bit. I see that smile.
Yeah, I love this. It validates everything that we talk about, everything that we preach as an agency. There is so much confusion. BQ mentioned earlier, people sell into confusion to try to drive people the wrong direction, and this article directly debunks all of that. So I couldn't be more excited to dig into each point.
The headline of this article, big blue box, maybe we'll throw it on the screen. The best formula for success remains foundational SEO. BQ, bullet point number 1, don't worry about all the new names. I've said this before. Good GEO, AEO, LLM SEO is good SEO.
What I'm thankful for Brendan today for is the fact that he has brought a massive amount of clarity into where there was a ton of confusion. And the confusion came with, look, anytime there's a big change in the world, if you can be the person that can name a category, then you can, by de facto, kind of make yourself the expert of it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
so
very true.
That's what's really happening here. The world has changed. You become the one that names a thing, and so then you can control the narrative inside of that thing.
Yeah.
And he's saying, hey man, don't worry about all the new names. Just keep doing the basics. Be the best at the basics. He says here, your essential investment in your SEO, your foundational SEO is solid. It is your launchpad for all AI success. He says that's why good SEO is good GEO or whatever. You can tell that he's a little bit he's ready for some clarity. He's he knows what we're dealing with. The great thing about focusing on a solid foundation is that it gives you permission, look at this, to stop wasting time on misleading tactics.
Come on.
Yes.
Preach.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, look, at the end of the day, and I think he says something like this in the article, Google and all of these AI platforms, they're all in the business of giving an answer or a set of answers to specific questions from consumers. That is their business model.
Yep.
They don't get advertising dollars from businesses like yours unless they're actually able to provide value to their customers who also happen to be your customers. So at the end of the day, if you're doing the right things, if someone's searching for anything having to do with a plumber, an HVAC, a pest control business, it doesn't matter. If they're looking for something, Google wants to match them with the best possible option. And the way that you present yourself as the best possible option is just doing the fundamentals the right way.
I mean, he says right here, brands that routinely perform best in search understand one simple truth. Here it is. Y'all ready? You win by being relentlessly helpful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Ask, relative to what I'm doing, am I being relentlessly helpful?
Yeah. Agreed. I think again, like bullet point number one, there's no new special tactic of things to do to rank for GEO or AIO or any of these things. It's just a continuation. It's just an expansion of good SEO, foundational SEO practices.
And that could be discussed, right? Because what some people believe are good foundational practices.
Absolutely.
The basics, it is about being the best at the basics, but I would say that the basics have evolved.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The basics have evolved, but the core fundamentals are still there. That kind of brings us to number 2, right? One of the old things used to be optimize for bots, right?
Yeah.
It straight up says don't optimize for bots or the LLMs or the AI search. He says optimize for people. Everything is about how are we relentlessly helpful to a person. The bots, the technology is going to overlay that and figure itself out. I love this quote. When you clear the noise, you open up the airwaves for the work that actually performs. Like,
yeah.
Preach.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, like, look, at the end of the day, just think about the most advanced bots today, right? Like you may find really, really good voice-enabled AI bots. Guess what? They're talking like humans. They're not trying to introduce a new bot language that we have to adapt to. They are adapting to how we live our lives. It's the same thing here. Like at the end of the day, if you're helpful to people, you will then be helpful to a potential bot that a person has deployed to help them find your business or your service, et cetera.
And he says it right here. Lastly, you can also look at this. Isn't the world made of like worry more? He's literally reducing anxiety here for a whole category of people. Lastly, you can stop worrying about new technical formats and special AI text files like llms.txt, at least for Google search. They are not needed. While you clear the noise for actions like these, you can open up the airwaves for the work that actually performs. Beautiful. Thank you.
It says right here, going back to number 1, that these systems like generative AI, AI mode, these systems are built directly on top of their core ranking system. So it's not like they've completely changed the game in terms of like what it takes to rank, what it takes to be present. It's just noise. It's just white noise. We've got to focus on the fundamentals, focus on what we know works. And then when we talk about not optimizing content for bots, this is also not a concept that's new. Keyword stuffing was a huge thing back in the day, right?
It's true.
It was,
yeah.
Hey, we need
meta keywords
over and over and over again, right? And they're saying, no, we don't have to do any of that. Do it the way that a human would want to interact with it, and then that will carry you further than trying to gamify the system or play into the bots.
This episode is sponsored by Scorpion. Getting leads is not enough if they don't turn into revenue. Scorpion connects marketing with your intake process so more opportunities become book jobs and fewer leads slip through the cracks. Visit scorpion.co to learn more.
We started talking about this 8 months ago, 9 months ago maybe, this idea of search everywhere optimization.
Omnipresent.
Right? Yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's still SEO. It's just expanded to the number of different platforms that now exist that you need to be present on.
Yep.
Right?
And what are you present on these platforms with? Down to number 3,
yeah.
Your unique perspective.
Yes.
Right? Look at this. Number 3, don't focus on generic content. Prioritize your unique perspective. When you stop wasting time attempting to influence bots, you get to reinvest it in the single greatest marketing asset. Listen to this, your unique perspective. And that's like not a question that probably gets asked every day in a home services or trades business where you're on the front lines and you're on to the next job and the next job and next job. But I tell you where your unique perspective lives. It's in the minds of your best technicians. It's in the minds of your GMs that deal with customers. It's in the minds of your CSRs. It's in the minds of the people that are having the most touch points with your customers. That's where your unique perspective is going to come. And I promise you, you're sitting on top of a wealth of that information that you're just not mining.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be any more difficult than go ask, Joe, the guy that's been there 30 years and is a master plumber, master electrician, and just ask him to tell you a story, and he'll have something, I promise. And then you work with your team and get that stuff broadcast, or the last big job they did, or something that happened in the community. Tell those stories, broadcast those great, unique insights, and watch what happens.
Yeah. Look, I think the other just thing to not do here is don't fall for, I got an email a little bit ago from a client who's a friend of mine that actually forwarded me something. I'll show it to you guys in a few minutes, but forwarded me something about he got solicited that he needed to start writing articles about being the best. Because look, one of the
best plumber in that.
Yeah, because one of the common things that people go to these LLMs for, myself included, by the way, is I'll go ask ChatGPT, hey, who's the best plumber in my area for drain cleaning? Right. So the aha moment was some vendor, I will leave them unnamed, literally said, hey, you don't have enough best articles on your website. It's like,
okay, easy. Right.
Yeah, that is not unique perspective. That would be a new form of
commodity content.
Yes. Last episode that we did, we talked about another Google article that talked about not doing commodity content. But yes, your unique perspective, the stories about your customers, the unique issues that customers in the market that you serve face that you can solve.
Here's an example as it's articulated in the article. A local running store could create a deep dive video analyzing why a customer's shoe collapsed instead of a generic top 10 things to consider, right?
Yes.
We've all heard top 10 reasons your toilet is leaking, top 10 reasons your lights are flickering. That's non-specific, it's commodity. Instead, it says address something that is highly specific with advice that isn't a generic review anyone could have written. It's think about real world stories and unique expertise that your business offers. That's non-commodity content. So that's where your competitive advantage is. So a question to leave, if you don't come away with anything else from this conversation today, is ask yourself the question, in my brand, where is my non-commodity content? The knowledge that nobody else has, that our perspective that nobody else has seen, that's sitting unpublished somewhere.
Yeah.
And start sharing it.
The next thing that Google talks about is that websites don't matter anymore.
Wait.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Sarcasm, guys. Number 4, don't forget your website. Build a great web presence. Amen. Woody.
It actually says build a great web experience.
Oh, sorry. You're right. I can't read. A great web experience. I'm getting too excited over here, guys. I apologize.
But I think it speaks to the same thing that BQ is talking about. One, we've got to have content that gives people the user experience that they're expecting, and sometimes that is very specific content related to the experience that they're having at the time. Sometimes that's also just about having a website that is aesthetically pleasing enough and has the conversion opportunities that they need, that consumer needs, right? Whether it be chat, whether it be booking online, whether it be calling or filling out a form. Your website has to cover all of these things. And people are starting to buy into this idea that, websites are dead, right? SEO is dead. And this is proof that that's just not the case.
Yeah, so when you think about great website experiences, right, think about it through the lens of what you just described. What are the things that differentiate you? How can you quickly convince someone that lands on your website that you're a credible business, that you're a brand that can be trusted, that you maybe have some offers that, are better than the competition? It could be, reduced diagnostic fees or free diagnostic fees. It could be coupons or specials that you're running. Right, those are important. And then you also mentioned, conversion points, right? Like at the end of the day, people don't visit plumbing and HVAC businesses just to go browse.
For fun, yeah.
They've got a need, right? So make it easy for them to contact you, to schedule with you. That means big phone number, top right corner of the website, ideally. Those things tend to convert better, believe it or not. A big schedule now or book appointment button. AI chat on your website that can actually have conversation based on your services. All these things are really, really critical to improving, building a great web experience.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've seen recently also is, websites have a tendency to creep over time away from what they are originally meant to do.
Absolutely.
When they first were published and it was a new website, it was in alignment over time. This gets added, that gets added. Somebody wanted this, the GM wanted that. And you end up with this kind of Frankenstein that asks the person that lands there to do like 20 different things.
Yeah. Yep.
What we want is we might give 8 different ways to do the one thing that we want them to do, which is connect, right? That's why multiple ways to convert, but the thing we want them to do is the same thing. Yep. Call, text, email, chat, whatever it is. Schedule. And, again, on this AEO, GEO conversation, one of the things they had talked about in the previous episode was the layer of, there is a preference for the less friction there is all the way to a booking. That's going to help these things as well. And so that whole experience needs to be, am I in the right place? Can I trust it? What are some of the other signals, though, he calls out right here? Where appropriate, your website should also benefit from relevant, high-quality videos and images. Google search may opt to highlight rich elements like these in search results, which could expand your visibility. I mean, we're seeing that in the data already.
Absolutely. One for one, websites that have video on the homepage of the video always convert better than those that don't. Like literally, and oftentimes by 8 to 10%. So just by putting high-quality video content that, again, features why your business, a story about your business, why you're in the community, those things actually do play into convincing a consumer that you are the right business to solve their problem.
And by the way, the answer to that is not to have a hyperlink to a YouTube video on your website that you can then click on. It's to have it native on the website so that as soon as you log in, you see the website. I'm hearing a lot about people posting a link instead for the sake of saving site speed. Right? Hey, my site's going to go fast if I put too much video on it. But the reality is that we're seeing a difference in conversion between those that have video native on the homepage versus those that just have a YouTube link.
That's true. You also hit on something else I think it's worth. You took it a slightly different direction. But look, here's the reality. This stuff is changing so quickly. Like technology, AI is changing the game so quickly. Don't think that you're going to build a website today and that a year and a half, 2 years from now, it's going to be relevant. Yeah. Like you're going to continue to optimize and in some cases, like use new coding technology to actually improve certain elements of your website. So, there's all these charlatans out there that talk about like things like you need to own your website. By the way, you do. You need to own your website. You should own your domain. You should own your website files. You should own your content. Anybody that tells you otherwise is telling you a lie. But to think that this is some asset that appreciates over time and it's as is state is just not true.
It's a living, breathing thing that's got to be fed and watered and maintained and
absolutely
pruned and over time. And if that gardening doesn't continue with it, you end up with this kind of tangled mess.
Yeah.
That you somehow have to figure out, wait a minute, where's the guy with the keys that had the code from 2 revisions ago? We've lost complete configuration control over what the code is, and it's a disaster. So, which prevents you from doing the work that matters.
Yes.
You're focused on the wrong thing. For example, this is beautiful, and this is an insight that I hadn't seen before until this article, but it totally makes sense. It's this idea of the person that's visiting your website today is in a different state than they used to be. Let's think about this. It used to be I search for plumber near me or whatever, and I come to the website and I learn about top 10 it's that informational content and the website's giving me that. I'm not that far down in the funnel.
Yeah.
At this point, look at this right here, what he says. People coming from AI surfaces may be more informed, looking to engage, and ready to convert. Don't risk losing that opportunity by delivering a subpar experience when they arrive. More importantly, remember that everything we suggest to optimize a website for generative AI features on Google search also make it better for humans. Full stop. I don't know if we need to say anything else.
No,
This is saying that the person that's now arriving at your website, the stakes are actually higher than they used to be.
Yeah, and we talked about this a couple of episodes ago, but we talked about this idea of there are informational and transactional searches.
Right.
Right? Informational searches that used to come or maybe find their way to your website are now being answered in AI and by AI itself. AI overviews answer these types of informational type queries. What AI is actually suggesting today is when I'm ready to transact, I come to it with a transactional question. I need a plumber right now. Who do you suggest I call? Right? That's what's bringing me, that's when it's actually recommending businesses and their websites. So when I land there, to your point, you need to actually have a place where I can convert readily.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when you quote on number 4, it says people coming from AI services may be more informed. It ties into this next point here, which is not to get distracted by noisy metrics. And one of the things that we were talking about a couple episodes ago is these changes are in some cases causing a drop in organic traffic, right? But if the customers that we're getting are dramatically more qualified and the traffic is off, how does that impact the bottom line? And a lot of our clients are seeing that it's not impacting the bottom line, but they have to do that math first before the freak out starts to go away. They go, oh, there's a drop off in organic volume. What are we gonna do? Drop off in organic traffic, and then you go look at the calls that they're actually getting from organic, and they're better leads than they've ever had before.
If Book Solid is helping you level up, make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and pass this episode along to a fellow operator who could use the insights. We release new episodes every 2 weeks. Yeah, that is bullet point number 5. It's the last one in this article, and the headline here is "Don't get distracted by noisy metrics. Focus on your business goals." Again, this is something that we've been preaching and trying to communicate to the market for a long time. You know, at the end of the day, you know, if you're still measuring the success of your online efforts by impressions or clicks, or how you rank for some rando long tail keyword search in organic search, if that's your core metric, cost per lead, if that's your core metric for measuring, you're falling behind.
Yeah.
Right? You should be actually thinking about, okay, how are these things that I'm doing, the strategies that I'm employing, the tactical things and the channels that I'm actually investing in, how are they leading to new customer acquisition and revenue generation?
Yeah, and I think that's where there needs to be a constant reevaluation of what and how you're measuring anything. I mean, what we've seen things. We've seen things all over the place. But obviously, in this world, what he's pointing to is that there are all these new tools that say they can measure things, and like you can chase a metric that may lead you exactly nowhere.
Yeah.
Right. One example, I saw it literally today, that there is a grouping of websites that were being measured by their aggregate ranking across a bucket of keywords, but there's no attachment to revenue. There's no attachment to the lead quality. There's no attachment to anything. And so an executive can look at this board and think and feel like, oh, we're going up, but there's no anchor to business outcomes, which is what he says right here. He says this: the most durable measurement strategy for moments like these is to do what? Focus on what actually matters to your bottom line. Concrete business goals, including leads, sales, and signups. At the end of the day, generative AI features are designed to help users take the next step with confidence, which is what search has always been great at. I mean, back to the basics, right?
Yeah. I mean, but it is fascinating. I mean, this just goes to show there's so much opportunity for businesses that actually shift their mindset and they reorient around these things and get out of this very outdated way to evaluate your digital presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I think that there's a constant theme in everything that we've been talking about, which is that it really goes back down to the fundamentals, right? What does it take to win today? We've got to have really good client experiences. We've got to make sure that they're telling those client experiences online. And then we've got to have really good systems to share our unique perspective. That unique perspective, to BQ's point, is found inside of our data. What's happening when the customers actually call us, what happens before they call us, what happens after they call us. And sharing that information back to these systems is all that Google's looking for.
I mean, I feel like this guy was listening to our podcast before then, because he ends with this closing thought, which is brilliant. Sounds familiar. Optimizing for this new world is really about getting back to the fundamentals of great marketing and being completely obsessed with your audience. The end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because it is this distraction component is really an important thing to talk about, because I think that more than anything, one of the things that our clients are experiencing is the distraction that comes from all of the signals that are coming at them. It's not their fault. There's waves of data coming at them at any given time. And part of what they're looking for is like, where's the signal in the noise, and then the right signal. And the right signal is going to land right back on what's your revenue target, what's your gross margin, how many technicians, what does your market need. It's all the basic gears inside the engine of that brand. That's where you got to go back to. And if you solve those things, if that thing is running well, and we're coming back to broadcasting and we're doing the thing to be relentlessly helpful, man, the rest of the thing kind of takes care of itself.
I agree. I mean, I do think though, like the next layer of the things to solve and that businesses should consider is like, if those things are running well, if those gears are turning well, like if you're not making some of the right decisions, it's actually hard to gauge.
That's right.
Are those gears actually turning in the right way?
Well said. Well said. And you solve the wrong problem.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you are executing, organic strategy here, paid strategy here, social strategy here, your website thing over here, if you're doing that across multiple products, multiple vendors with different ways of measuring outcomes, and varying capabilities of actually integrating all those things into what's actually working and driving revenue,
you're blind.
Yeah.
You're blind, and you kind of don't know it. You see a lot of pieces of data, but you're actually blind because you're not actually seeing what's happening behind the scenes and how these things are connected.
Yeah, so one of the things that you actually kind of jumped ahead, but we'll kind of home back in. The last point here in this article, number 5, don't get distracted by noisy metrics. Focus on your business goals. Business goals, and they define it here, concrete business goals including leads, sales, or signups. Let's unpack. Where do these noisy metrics come from?
Well, I think right now we are filled with a whole new category of noisy metrics on who can measure your AI search activity the best. And there's all these things with citations and comment. I mean, there's all this stuff, and it is all nascent. It's brand new, and who knows if there's all the vendors, the third-party vendors around the measurement tools. And again, he says right here, Google does not evaluate third-party SEO tools or vendors directly and have no access to our internal metrics. In other words, they don't really know. All of that data can feel interesting, and it is interesting, but it isn't something that you should bet your business on.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a million, and this is like a hot topic for me, but like there's SEO-oriented tools. It could be everything from what you just described to here's how we rank, our websites rank for these rando keywords, like long tail keywords that no one searches or not buying keywords. By the way, that traffic's gonna get displaced by AI overviews anyway. I got this paid advertising vendor or vendors that measure results in different ways. Like a lead may be defined as one thing by this vendor and something else by another vendor. There's social share. All these things create a bunch of noise that typically is not anywhere oriented or tied back to systematically tied back. I don't mean mathed in a spreadsheet. I mean like data sources tied back from this is where I was marketing, organic, paid, otherwise. This is how those things turn into booked appointments, into jobs run, into estimates, into eventually paid invoices. Now let's marry that data. Like most of these systems aren't doing any of those things. No, and that's where the noise gets created.
It's these systems that are possibly measuring things that don't really matter, that are interesting that don't matter, and it's the fact that in many cases in this world, you probably wouldn't see this in the e-commerce world. It's much cleaner, but in this world where you're seeing the shift from this transactional to more of an e-commerce ecosystem with home services, you end up with 12 different tools.
Yeah.
That are all sending data, not connected, not aware of each other. And these things have mid-air collisions. They don't always coincide. And I mean, the executives that have to try to manage this, man, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to really know if you are solving the right problem.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I mean, people talk about being like buried in webhooks and having all these different systems trying to communicate to each other. And it's not easy to get clean math. It's not easy to get clean data when you've got all these different systems that don't perfectly integrate or don't perfectly communicate to each other. So you've got to have one strong system that covers all things with your marketing, one strong system that covers all things with your operations. And like Jamie said, marry those together so that everything is communicating succinctly.
Perfect example. If you took the organic decline over the last 12 months and you looked at it in isolation and you didn't have it connected to your revenue, you would just look at that and that signal would say the world is falling, we've got to do something different. And then what you'd be faced with is everything you try to do doesn't work, because it's not pushing the organic traffic back up, right? You connect that, in this case, with Service Titan, and you connect the revenue back. Now I have context for that organic dip, and I realize, wait a minute, the organic fell off 30%, but my revenue stayed flat or improved. And oh yeah, by the way, because I've got the data downstream, I can see that specifically my organic leads increased in average value. That's an insight that you don't get unless everything's talking to each other. You don't get if you got 12 different vendors all sending stuff to you. It's just impossible. But here's what we know is that the brands that play at that level, and we have them, and we see them. And look, this is not, look, we can see the folks that are there. We see it in the data. They are winning. How are they winning? They're playing the game at a very high level. They're asking the right questions. They're solving the right problems. And what we're seeing is like, this is the game where it's not played just on, we set a budget and go. This is where we are dynamically, addressing weather patterns, and we're load balancing with technician capacity, and it's just another level of the game that, frankly, most platforms and brands just can't play unless they get to that point.
Well, look, I mean, it's another timely piece of content. Again, just a quick rundown. Don't worry about the new names. It's all SEO. You can think about it as search everywhere optimization. Don't optimize for bots, optimize for people. Don't focus on generic content. Prioritize your unique perspective in your content. Don't forget your website. Build a great web experience. And last but not least, don't get distracted by the noisy metrics. Focus on your business outcomes. That means connecting your strategy to those outcomes in a way that you can actually make sure that you're doing the right things and maybe eliminating or devaluing the things that aren't working as well. Guys, another great episode. Thanks for the contribution. Google, thank you for publishing this article today. And we'll be back real soon with another episode of Book Solid.
Well, that wraps us up for today. Remember, leads are good, but revenue is the point. We'll see you on the next one.